Recently, someone asked if I have a list of every restaurant I've ever reviewed, and while I don't, I did go back and added every restaurant to the description of older videos. But while I did...
Custard and steak burgers is a size...
Holy fuck, was I recording inside a tin can? That is awful. I also realized how much my ranking system has changed since then. This isn't an IGN video game review where the bare minimum gets you a 9. I've tried to really look at restaurants honestly from 1 to 10. So to clarify, the rankings are as follows. 0 to 1 is a restaurant that either actively offended me or made me sick. 2 through 4 are places you should actively avoid and maybe even flip off when you're driving by. 5 is a completely average meal. 6 to 7 are places you'll go back to if you feel like it, and 8 and 9 are places that are so good you tell other people about them even if you aren't a total weirdo like me. And 10s basically don't exist. So with those rules put into place, there are some restaurants I gave high marks to from a first visit, but since then I've had a bad to mediocre experience that changed the way I think about them. So I need to retroactively go back and change some grades, so let's do this shit. Yeah, we loved Freddy's when we got here, but haven't gotten them in like a year, since finding better options like David's, Belly Busters, and now Whataburger. An 8 is patently ridiculous. Better than most fast food chains, but overall a pretty standard 6. Gave it a 7, probably more like a high 6. El Acapulco is nearby and we usually opt for that. Yep, still a 2. Gave Bluebell a ridiculous 10 based on the cookies and cream and said I couldn't wait to try their other flavors. Well, I did, and most of them are fucking atrocious, especially the strawberry. Bluebell is still an 8 for the cookies and cream and butter pecan, but you can skip the rest. Yup, still a 5. Yup, still a 7, probably a low 7. Haven't been back, still 3. Gave it a 6, haven't been back, probably closer to a low 5. Gave it a 1, haven't been back. Was considering giving them another shot in case it was just a really bad day. I'll report back. Gave them an 8 out of 10 when I'd had minimal exposure to barbecue. Have been back several times, also tried other barbecue spots, probably closer to a high 6. Haven't been back, but Kahana is our sushi go-to, still a 4. Haven't been back, but 5 was way too generous, probably closer to a high 3 or low 4. Ended up choosing this as our go-to over Los 3 Patrios, which was changed to a high 6. This stays a low 7. Gave it a 5, another one I'm thinking of revisiting since I've heard people sing its praises, sticking with a low 5, but I'll report back. Gave it a 7, their barbecue pork nachos are still our occasional fuck it, let's ruin our bodies go-to. Still rocking the 7. Haven't been back, can't imagine they don't still fucking suck, still a 1 out of 10. Haven't been back, but this was way too nice. Definitely not average, closer to a 4. Have not once even thought about going back. 7 is way too high, probably closer to a low 6. Have been back several times and had experiences that range from still good bordering on great to meh to one time it was downright gross. 9 was way too high, probably closer to a high 7. Most of my review actually focused on whether or not these people would be able to stay in business. Spoiler, they weren't. Rip out of 10. Tried it again and it wasn't that bad. I don't know what the fuck happened that first go-around, but they're still overpriced and mediocre, which lands them at a 4. Haven't been back since, but I've been there plenty enough times to know. 3 seems fair. Gave them a 7, seems about right, about as good as it gets for a franchise, but they really need to cut out the meme menu items. Lean into what you're good at, country cooking. Still a 7. Haven't been back, but the 2 actually seems generous. This place is genuinely gross and a 1 out of 10. Yeah, 6 out of 10 seems right. A high 6, though. Now we're getting into it. I gave Popeyes an 8 out of 10, and that is a ranking I would stand by if this weren't a review of the Popeyes in Conway. We've been back several times, and I've officially given up on them. They are obscenely slow, no matter how few customers there are. They fuck up food, fuck up orders, and act like your business is an imposition on them. Fuck them, 2 out of 10. Haven't been back for breakfast, but 6 is too high. It was a 5. Haven't been back, but a 4 is still too high, closer to a 3. We go back there for nostalgia because the wife and I had our first date at one, and yeah, 6 is fair. They're considered in the same class as Chili's, Applebee's, or Ruby Tuesdays, but Fridays really is a step above them. Actually, 6 seems high. It's more like a high 5. Yeah, 7 seems high for a barbecue place where I didn't enjoy the barbecue, probably closer to a 6. Yeah, 6 is too high, more like a 5. For some reason I reviewed Wendy's twice. It's a 5. In the canon of this series, I reviewed Chipotle when I didn't like it, but then discovered the Burrito Bowl, and now I love it. Gave it a 4, but fuck, I love me a Burrito Bowl. It's now a 7. Yeah, probably still a low 6, but they seem to have added some items and courses to their repertoire, so I want to go back and give them another shot. I'll report back. Yeah, haven't been back. 4 out of 10 seems fair. Still pretty good, but 7 out of 10 is way too high. More like a low 6. Definitely still an 8. In fact, I wish I'd been back here more often than I have. They were good, but this place moved up the street. Haven't been back, but 7 out of 10 seems fair. Yeah, still a 4. Below average and sad. Haven't been back, right on the nose for average, sticking with a 5. Been back a few times and the fries were never as good as that first visit. 7 is too high, closer to a high 6. Haven't been back, average, sticking with 5. I think I was just desperate for competent Chinese food and 7 was way too generous. Closer to a high 5. I think I was a bit swept off my feet by the novelty. We've been back quite a few times and the shine has worn off. 8 is way too high, closer to a high 6. 9 is also way too high, closer to a solid 7. Yeah, I think I found my pace at this point, and I stand by everything else I said. See ya.